Hello and welcome to this session on Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Overview. Primary education is one of the most formative periods in the development of a child. Since independence, the state is attempting to provide free, compulsory and universal education to the children population of India. One such remedial measure is the introduction of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, or the Education for All movement, is a flagship program of the Government of India started in 2001, pioneered by Atal Bihari Vajpayee for the achievement of universalization of elementary education. It is an effort to universalize elementary education by community ownership of the school system. It was a response to the demand for quality basic education all over the country. The SSA program was also an attempt to provide an opportunity for improving human capabilities to all children through provision of community-owned quality education in a mission mode. The movement was mandated by the 86th Amendment to the Constitution of India, making free and compulsory education to children of ages between 6 and 14. The program had time-bound objectives to be taken care of. The program aimed to achieve the goal of universalization of elementary education of satisfactory quality by 2010. The program laid emphasis for bridging all gender and social category gaps at elementary education level. On one hand, SSA is a program with its own target, norms and process. On the other hand, it is an umbrella program covering other programs like District Primary Education Program, Lok Jumpish and Operation Blackboard. The program was supported by the World Bank, the European Commission and the United Kingdom's DFID. The World Bank is the largest contributor. In the first phase of support, the World Bank contributed $500 million of the total program cost of $3.5 billion. In the second phase, the World Bank has provided another $1.35 billion. The bank's support to the program gained importance in the light of Government of India's recently passed Historic Right to Education RTE Act 2009. SSA adopted the bottom-up process of planning, wherein the felt needs of several served communities and educational needs of learners were well taken care of, and plan fits into broad framework of the SSA. In the view of the fact that the desired improvement and sustenance of the improved efficiency level cannot be achieved without the active involvement of the community in the schooling system, SSA had emphasized the involvement of local people and stakeholders in planning. This also ensures local specificity, which is essential for achieving the goals of the program. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is an attempt to provide quality education to all children through active participation of community in a mission mode. Useful and relevant education signifies a quest for an education system that is not alienating and that draws on community solidarity. The aim of this mission is to allow children to learn about and master their natural environment in a manner that allows the fullest harnessing of the human potential both spiritually and materially. This quest must also be a process of value-based learning that allows children an opportunity to work for each other's well-being rather than to permit mere selfish pursuits. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan realizes the importance of early childhood care and education and looks at the 0 to 14 age as a continuum. All efforts to support preschool learning in ICDS centers or special preschool centers in non-ICDS areas will be made to supplement the effort being made by the Department of Women and Child Development. The major characteristics of SSA are the following: a program with a clear time frame for universal elementary education, a response to the demand for quality basic education all over the country, an opportunity for promoting social justice through basic education, an effort effectively involving the Panchayat Raj institution, school management committees, village and urban slum level education committees, Parent Teachers Association, Mother Teacher Association, tribal autonomous councils and other grassroots level structures in the management of elementary schools. An expression of political will for universal elementary education across the country. A partnership between central, state and local governments. An opportunity for state to develop their own vision of elementary education. Basic features of SSA. Institutional reforms in the states. Sustainable financial partnership with states. Community-based ownership of school-based interventions through effective decentralization. Institutional capacity building for improvement of quality. Community-based monitoring with full transparency in all aspects of implementation. Community-based approach to planning with a habitation as a unit of planning. A mainstreaming gender approach. Focus on the educational participation of children from the SC/ST, religious and linguistic minorities, etc. Thrust on quality and making education relevant. Recognition of critical role of teacher and focus on human resource development needs of teachers. Preparation of district elementary educational plans reflecting all governmental and non-governmental investments. The objectives of SSA were expressed nationally, though it was expected that various districts and states are likely to achieve universalization in their own respective context and in their own time frame. 2010 was the outer limit for such achievements. The emphasis was on mainstream out-of-school children through diverse strategies as far as possible and on providing 8 years of schooling for all children of 6 and 14 age groups. The thrust was on bridging of gender and social gaps and a total retention of all children in schools. Within this framework, it was expected that the education system would be made relevant so that children and parents find the schooling system useful and absorbing according to their natural and social environment. The SSA program seeks to open new schools in those habitations which do not have schooling facilities and strengthen existing school infrastructure through provision of additional classrooms, toilets, drinking water, maintenance grant and school improvement grants. Existing schools with the inadequate teacher strength are provided with additional teachers while the capacity of existing teachers is being strengthened by extensive training. Grants for developing teaching learning materials and strengthening of the academic support structure at a cluster, block and district level. SSA seeks to provide quality elementary education including life skills. SSA has a special focus on girls' education and the children with special needs. It also seeks to provide computer education to bridge the digital divide. Due to low attendance, midday meal was also introduced. Major areas of intervention: education out of school children, education guarantee scheme and alternate and innovative education. Alternative and innovative education is one of the major interventions of SSA to provide access for all children to primary education. Various strategies have been developed for ensuring participation of children of marginalized and deprived groups in tribal and coastal areas. The innovative programs implemented in schools are acting as catalyst in the process of achieving useful and relevant elementary education for all children, the 6 to 14 age groups, and to bridge a social, regional and gender gaps in the active participation of the community. The programs are successful in creating interest in students on education and help to retain their studies. The schemes implemented under innovative schemes are early childhood care and education, girls' education, SC/ST education and computer education. Quality improvement: as a part of the SSA, the central and the state governments will undertake reforms in order to improve efficiency of the delivery system. The states will have to make an objective assessment of their prevalent education system including educational administration, achievement levels in schools, financial issues, decentralization and community ownership, review of the State Education Act, rationalization of teacher deployment and recruitment of teachers, monitoring and evaluation, status of education of girls, SC/ST and disadvantaged groups, policy regarding private schools and early childhood care and education. Many states have already carried out several changes to improve the delivery system for elementary education. SSA lays a special thrust on making education at the elementary level useful and relevant for children by improving the curriculum, child-centered activities and effective teaching-learning strategies. Special focus group. There will be a focus on the inclusion and participation of children from SC/ST, minority groups, urban deprived children, disadvantaged groups and the children with special needs in the educational process. Research and evaluation. This intervention consists of research, evaluation, supervision and monitoring. The norms propose an amount of Rs 1,500 per school for the development of capacities and supervision through resource and research institution on an effective educational management information system. There are provisions for regular school mapping or micro-planning for updating of household data. The funds can be utilized for both government and government-aided schools. Following activities are proposed under the interventions. Creating a pool of resource person for effective field-based monitoring. Providing regular generation of community-based data. Conducting achievement test evaluation studies. Undertaking research activities. Setting up special task force for low female literacy districts and for special monitoring of girls, SC, ST, etc. Incurring expenditure on education management information system. Undertaking contingent expenditure like charts, posters, sketch pen, OHP pen, etc. for visual monitoring systems. Conduct cohort studies. Community mobilization. The SSA works on a community-based approach to planning with habitation as a unit of planning. Habitation plans will be the basis for formulating district plans. The program calls for community ownership of school-based interventions through effective decentralization. This will be augmented by involvement of women's groups, VEC members and members of Panchayat Raj institutions. Civil works. The civil works component is important under SSA. Under this component, there is massive investment up to the limit of 33% of total project budget. Provision of school infrastructure helps in providing access to children and also helps in the retention, both of which are important objectives of SSA. Provision of infrastructure for resources centers at sub-district levels helps in creating academic support which acts as a catalyst towards quality improvement. The following constructions are undertaken under civil works. Monitoring and MIS. The program will have a community-based monitoring system. The educational management information system will correlate school-level data with community-based information from micro-planning and surveys. Besides this, every school will be encouraged to share all information with the community, including grants received. A notice board would be put up in every school for this purpose. SSA will commence throughout the country with a well-planned pre-project phase that provides for a large number of interventions for capacity development to improve the delivery and monitoring system. These include provision for household surveys, community-based micro-planning and school mapping, training of community leaders, school-level activities, support for setting up information system, office equipment, diagnostic studies, etc. Finance and procurement. The Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan is based on the premise that financing of elementary education interventions has to be sustainable. This calls for a long-term perspective on financial partnership between the central and the state governments. Major central interventions and their integration with SSA. There have been several innovative schemes in the sector of elementary education following the National Policy on Education in 1986, such as Operation Blackboard, Teacher Education, Non-Formal Education, Mahila Samakhya, National Program for Nutritional Support for Primary Education, State-Specific Education Projects in Bihar, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Andhra Pradesh and DPEP in 248 districts of 18 states. It is proposed to integrate these in the fold of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan in the following manner. Operation Blackboard. Operation Blackboard aims to improve physical infrastructure of education whereby school space was expanded and more teachers were provided. However, Operation Blackboard could not cover the entire spectrum of schools as planned. It was then thought that SSA will qualitatively improve and expand the existing structure. No fresh teacher recruitment will take place under Operation Blackboard once SSA program is operationalized. Strengthening of teacher education. The revised scheme of teacher education provides for a memorandum of understanding with the states in order to ensure that they receive priority attention of state governments, especially with regards to filling up of vacancies through a rigorous selection criteria. SSA recognizes the critical and central role of teachers and advocates a focus on their development needs. Setting up of block resource centers, cluster resource centers, recruitment of qualified teachers, opportunities for teacher development through participation in curriculum related material development. Focus on classroom process and exposure visit for teachers are all designed to develop the human resource among teachers. National Program of Nutritional Support for Primary Education. Evaluation of National Program of Nutritional Support for Primary Education indicates that the supply of food grains leads to improvement in student attendance while raising their nutritional standard. It was proposed to continue the scheme with suitable modifications in consultation with states. Mahila Samakya. The evaluation of Mahila Samakya approach indicates the progress made in empowerment of women. This in turn generates demand for elementary education of girls. There is a need to further strengthen these linkages with basic education of girls by giving women's group a more active role in the management of the school. Education of girls, especially those belong to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes and minorities, will be one of the principal concerns in Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Education Guarantee Scheme and Alternative Innovative Education. Studies on the non-formal education scheme have pointed out the lack of flexibility which impedes effective implementation across different states. Efforts to provide for a diversity of interventions have been made in the revised scheme that has been approved recently, such as setting up of education guarantee schools, alternative schooling facilities, Balika Shiksha Shivir, back to school camps, etc. District Primary Education Program. As per the SSA framework, each district will prepare a district elementary education plan reflecting all the investments being made and required in the elementary education sector with a holistic and convergent approach. There will be perspective plan that will give a framework of activities over a longer time frame to achieve UEE. DPEP has met with varied degree of success in different states. Some have availed of DPEP benefits and have improved the elementary education sector. A large number of teacher vacancies have been filled up in many DPEP states. Development of new textbooks with the participations of teachers and experts has been encouraging in most DPEP states. All DPEP districts would also be a part of SSA framework. Efforts to prepare comprehensive district elementary education plans will be made in DPEP districts. Lok Jumpish Project. Under the LJP, evaluation studies indicate the positive impact of micro-planning and school mapping in which the community is involved. There are specific interventions for girls' education through Balika Shiksha Shivers and Sahaj Shiksha Kendras. LJP will be implemented in 13 districts of Rajasthan and holistic district plans will be prepared for the districts also. Let us summarize the major point discussed in this session. Primary education is one of the most formative periods in the development of a child. Since independence, the state is attempting to provide free, compulsory and universal education to child population of India. The chapter talks about one such remedial measure which is the introduction of Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, or the Education for Movement. SSA is a flagship program of the Government of India started in 2001, pioneered by Atal Bihari Vajpayee for the achievement of universalization of elementary education. It was response to the demand for quality basic education all over the country. The SSA program was also an attempt to provide an opportunity for improving human capabilities to all children through provision of community-owned quality education in a mission mode. The movement was mandated by the 86th Amendment of the Constitution of India, making free and compulsory education to children of ages between 6 and 14. The program aimed to achieve the goal of universalization of elementary education of satisfactory quality by 2010. The program laid emphasis for bridging all gender and social category gaps at elementary education level. The program was supported by the World Bank, the European Commission and the United Kingdom's DFID. The aim of this mission is to allow children to learn about and master their natural environment in a manner that allows the fullest harnessing of the human potential both spiritually and materially. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan realizes the importance of early childhood care and education and looks at the 0 to 14 age as a continuum. The chapter includes the major characteristics of SSA and its basic features. The objectives of SSA were expressed nationally, though it was expected that various districts and states are likely to achieve universalization in their own respective context and in their own time frame. The emphasis on the mainstreaming out of the school children through diverse strategies as far as possible and on providing 8 years of schooling for all children of 6 and 14 age groups. The thrust was on bridging of gender and social gaps and a total retention of all children in schools. Within this framework, it was expected that the education system would be made relevant so that children and parents find the schooling system useful and absorbing according to their natural and social environment. The SSA program seeks to open new schools in those habitations which do not have schooling facilities and strengthen existing school infrastructure through provision of additional classroom, toilets, drinking water, maintenance grant and school improvement grants. Existing schools with inadequate teacher strength are provided with additional teachers, while the capacity of existing teachers is being strengthened by extensive training. Grants for developing teaching learning materials and strengthening of the academic support structure at a cluster, block and district level. SSA seeks to provide quality elementary education including life skills. SSA has a special focus on girls' education and children with special needs. It also seeks to provide computer education to bridge the digital divide. Due to low attendance, midday meal was also introduced. The rest of the chapter deals with the various interventions of SSA. Now you can try to answer the given questions here. What are the basic features of SSA? What are the major interventions of SSA? What is operational Blackboard? What is district primary educational program? What are the major characteristics of SSA? Now you may go through the books for reference. Education Administration Structures, Processes and Future Prospects, NUPA, APH Publishing Corporation, 2009. Education Emerging Indian Society, The Challenges and Issues, Ghosh, PHI Learning Private Limited, 2009. Hope that you have enjoyed this session. We can meet again with another topic soon. Thank you.